Welcome back to my little corner here of YouTube where I talk about the books that I'm writing, the books that I'm reading, and all the things that being an author entails. I am pulling back the curtain of just what it's like to be an author. Because when you go to a bookstore and you get a book, you just see the final product. When you see an author at a book event, they're prepared to be there. They are mentally prepared to be here. This this is what it looks like on the other side. Usually in my pajamas, my hair is usually up. I'm usually not wearing makeup, but I put powder on for this, just a little bit. And this week, I have broken one of my rules, and I also kind of broke it last week, but I let it slide. And that rule that I broke is no writing during the week. Yeah, it's been a while ago since I kind of realized that I was working so much on my writing and my writing and my writing that I wasn't reading as much as I should be because I was so focused on getting my books written to get them out there to be published. And I wasn't reading enough. My TBR was growing, but I wasn't reading enough. I wasn't finding the comp titles. I wasn't getting the inspiration that I needed. So I set this rule for myself where during the week, so like Monday through Friday, I was not going to work on my book. I wasn't even going to open the Word document. And then I would save all that for Saturday or Sunday or just one of those days that I really felt like writing. Then I would put in, the effort and time there. I'd pretty much put in like a full work day of writing on one of those days. And for 2 years or so now, that rule has stood. I have not broken that rule until now. I think it boils down to me just really wanting to get this book done. I I'm working on a book 4 of this fantasy quartet that if you've not seen any of these vlogs that I've done, I have been working on this quartet since like 2019 and I've just kept pushing it off because I just kept losing the inspiration. And I honestly think it's because I just wasn't reading enough. Like in the romantic fantasy genre, and I have struggled to get back into it. And I think because just I've overdosed on like the romantasy fad that just flooded every single market everywhere, and I was just kind of tired of it. But I have found the thread of inspiration for this book series, this book 4, and I have set the goal to finish it. I am going to finish it. I have outlined the ending of book 4. I know how this series ends. I just have to sit down and write it. That is the stage that I'm in. A part of me just really, 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 really wants this series to be done so I can move on to other things. So I can get it off my desk, get it out of my head, and just get it into the hands of readers and move on. Because I have so many projects that I want to do, so many books that I want to write, that I want to spend all this time thinking about. I also went through this phase last year into, no, it was last year and the year before that, where I just couldn't focus on any one project and I just kept flip flopping between this project and that project. Then I start a new project, then I come back to this project, do half a draft, and then go on to another project. And I just couldn't focus on any one project. And I didn't want to do that to this one. I wanted to get it done, I want to do it right. I want to do this book series justice. Do this book series justice. It's been a very long week, okay? If I flubble some words, just let it happen, okay? Just let it happen. But this past week, I worked on a chapter. I took the chapter that was kind of in a very rough draft stage and I worked it into a first draft stage. So it's much better. It flows a little bit better. It's a solid chapter. And I know the chapter that comes next, I have several questions about it that I left for myself to figure out later. And it's mostly like, does this chapter need to happen? What needs to happen in this chapter? Do we need to have this whole big battle so we can get to the next scene? Or can we have our main characters in this other place so where the battle is happening over here, but they're not there, so I don't have to worry about orchestrating a battle scene? I am terrible at fight scenes, battle scenes, any kind of thing like that. I I'm not I don't like to read them, so I don't like to write them either because I don't have that sense of where everything needs to be. I admire authors that can like orchestrate these big long dramatic battle sequences that don't like trudge or like drone on or like sag in the middle, but everything makes sense and you can see it all happen like a big action scene. I'm not one of those authors. That's fine. I don't need to be. We all have our strengths. Mine is not in battle, literally or on the page. Don't ask me to be in your fight. Don't tag me in. We will lose. I put all my strength in my brain. Very weak otherwise. But I would like to, this weekend, finish book 4. I would really like to finish book 4. Will I actually get to the end? I don't know, because I don't know how much more needs to happen. I think, because after the one scene that I did, yesterday? Was it yesterday? Was it the day before? I was just say it was yesterday, so I don't have to stress about it. The one that I did this week. There's like 3 major scenes that happen. The one major scene is plotted out a little bit. It's in like a rough draft stage. I wrote it, I think, a year or so ago, like this one final confrontation scene between these 2 brothers that I set up in book 2, but then there's the next confrontation of the big bad villain that happens after. And that one is a little, it needs to be blocked out and it needs to make more sense because I've changed the lore. Oh, that was another thing why this series has taken so long, because book 4 was where some of the lore was going to come out, some deeper lore that was going to change some of the things that we thought we knew through this whole series. And for a long time, I did not know what was going to change. I knew I wanted something to change, but then the initial lore that I came up with was very, very similar to the lore of a different series that I was doing. I'm like, I can't just do the same plot twist. That's dumb. So I set this book aside kind of at that point where I knew things needed to happen that needed to be connected to that lore that I didn't know what it was. This is why you should have the lore of your world planned out before you start writing the first draft. I've done that to myself so many times where I know there's lore that I'm gonna need. I just like make a little footnote to myself like, hey, think about this later. I do, sometimes I don't. But I'm really hoping to get through book 4 this weekend. And then I need a break because I have spent the last several weekends really a lot of my extra time thinking about this book, thinking about this series, thinking of like just ways to make it better, things to do in revision. And I have put off a lot of other things. I have several videos that I want to do that I want to record because this year, 2026, marks 10 years since I published my first book. And I wanted to do a whole like vlog series, not vlog series, they'd be more professional, scripted things, more scripted videos about like 10 years and 10 lessons, like 10 lessons that I have learned over the course of 10 years. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to do several like videos that I've kind of come up with that I've seen other people do, and I think they're real neat, like the 10 books that I will always recommend that give you a very good idea of like my taste in books. There were several other ones that I kind of came up with in like a list. I can't think of them right now. It's fine. I have them written down in at least 2 places, so it's fine. They've been recorded on paper, not like on camera. I'm also falling behind in my reading. I'm getting really close to this audiobook that I think I have like 20 minutes left. It's a funny story by Emily Henry. Have really enjoyed it. And the narrator of this audiobook has done a fantastic job. Like it's like a, like she I like I hold on, let me start over. Let me start that thought all over. I had gotten to like the emotional high point, and like the main character has like a lot of emotion going on, and so like the narrator puts a lot of emotion into the voice and it sounds like she's actually on the verge of tears. It was one of those emotional kind of moments that I also kind of feel in my chest because I have also felt the same way that this character was feeling, and just the way that the narrator was doing it, I also was feeling these emotions. And like I was driving to work, of course, and like I'm sitting in the parking lot at work feeling like I am also about to cry. I'm like, these aren't even my emotions. How have you done this to me? Julia Whalen, that's it. That's who it was. She has done several things that I've listened to. She's absolutely incredible. Incredible narrator. One of the best audiobook narrators that I've listened to so far. So writing wise, I mean, it's been pretty productive. Like last weekend was very productive. Like, and I was worried that it was gonna kind of go on a downward trend because that's usually how it goes. I have up weekends, I have down weekends. But no, I stayed with it. I got several chapters done, and like ironed out. I did a lot of like the blocking of just trying to make sure the story made sense, and like I've made notes for revision or like, hey, this scene here doesn't really have anything going on. Can we cut it? Can we add something to it? Just things like that, and like notes for like this character that I've completely forgotten about. This entire book doesn't exist, has done absolutely nothing. But he was in the book previous to this one, book 3. I also forgot about him in that book, so I'm like, does this character even need to be here? But then I've been a lot of really, hold on, let me start that thought all over again. Also, I've been under a lot of stress this week at work, not like book wise, but it's just been a very stressful week. I was thinking about how I could just do so much more writing things if I didn't have to work full time, if I didn't have this stupid stressful job. And like I would be happier just like working part time somewhere and then writing and then teaching part time. But then I'm like, I can't do that because I cannot afford it. And then like that whole, I don't know if you, everyone probably read about it, saw it somewhere on social media. The article came out that that one author had used AI to like write a whole bunch of books and like published a whole bunch of books this year, and she made all this money. And it's like, and like I'm not saying that I want to write books with AI. I've tried it. It like takes all the fun out of it. It just it's I don't like it. And let's be honest, AI can't write books very well. It's not well done. But it's just kind of leaves you with that defeated feeling like you've put in all this work, you've spent the last 10 years writing, right? And you've just poured your heart and soul into like writing these books and putting them out there, and it still just doesn't feel like it's enough. And you just keep trying and you just keep trying, and then you query a new project that you finished, and then it doesn't go anywhere, or they like it but they're like, I don't feel as good about it. It's like, yeah, okay. And then you read like these really good books and you're like, man, I can't write that well, I'm never going to be that good. And then you read these really crappy books and it's like, what agent thought this was good enough, you know? And then you're like, you look at it, it's got all these good reviews and it's like, well, just reread the same book. This week though has been a week of like stress and like depression, I think, brought on by mostly stress at work and the realization that I mean, I'm 10 years into this and I'm still not, I don't feel like I've gone anywhere. Or is this just imposter syndrome rearing its ugly head? That feeling like you can't do anything and then you'll never be good enough and why are you even trying? And all this, like that seed of hope that you have when you start out, like, I'm gonna write books, that you're gonna be able to do this for a career. And so many other authors are able to do this as a career, as their full time career, as the main money maker. And yet, here I am. Trying and like putting books out and just trying to get to that point, and it just feels like every time you turn around there's some obstacle in the way. Like you're writing romantic fantasy, then romantic fantasy becomes huge, and then you can't get your romantic fantasy, your next one, out soon enough, and then the market is flooded with romantic fantasies, and then nobody likes that anymore. Now everyone's looking for romantic horror, and you have a romantic horror that you've been working on for years, but you don't know if you can get it out fast enough, and by the time you probably do get it out, the market is going to have moved on. And it just feels like you're always like one step behind. It's been one of those days, one of those weeks where it's like, should I just go run into traffic? Just put myself out of my misery. I wouldn't do that. Seriously, I would not do that. I work in a medical office. I would ask somebody first. I would ask for help first. I'm an adult. But these are the things that you might not see normally. Like when you see an author and like, oh, they're so successful, blah, blah, blah. Like, are they? Or do they cry themselves to sleep at night? You don't know. I haven't cried myself to sleep in a long time. At least 2 years. I want to get back to that contemporary horror romance. Romantic horror. It's leaning more toward being mostly a horror novel with a romantic plot. What was the word I want? Subplot? Romantic subplot. It's not really a romance. I think that's why I kept not feeling like I was in the store, because I don't write just romance. My books will never be on a romance shelf. And I was trying to kind of make it a romance, and it's not a romance. It's what I started thinking about it more in the terms of like a horror novel, like with some fantastical elements, like a paranormal horror. Then like the pieces kind of started falling into place a little bit more. I could get into the story a little bit more. So I would like to get that one out sometime. I'm not going to say this year because that's knock on wood, because I have no idea what project is going to grab me after I'm done with this quartet. So that is how my week has been. On a whole, meh, meh, lower than average. Like mentally wise, it's been lower than average, but writing wise, this weekend was very successful. And my goals for next week are that I will have finished this quartet, or at least very, very close to the end. I will accept close to the end. Then I can think about what project I want to work on next. After I take a break, I need a break. I have to remember to give myself a break afterwards. I should set the goal to read at least 3 books before I start working on another draft. Yeah, that's my goal. That's my goal. We'll see if I actually stick to it, or if I just immediately start working on something else. That's also very possible. So thank you for joining me on this lovely little half vlog, half depression talk. So stay tuned. Check in next week to see if I actually did finish book 4. I will be very excited if I finish book 4. I might cry a little bit. But thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And until I see you in the next one, I had a thought there. I had a thought. I had like a word. I had a thought. It was there. I had it. Now it's gone. It's gone. Oh, let's just go and hope for the best. My story of my life. Get that on my bumper sticker.